Not sure talking's my best quality, to be honest, or interviewing. I'm not very good at listening, but anyway. Welcome to Batting for Scatty. This is my podcast. Tandy Houghton here, and today I am interviewing Nathan Lang, who is a stand-up, a clown, and a comedic actor, and he is fantastic. He is really good. I say that about everybody that I interview. Obviously, why would I interview them if I didn't think they were good? But I saw the Stuntman and Nathan, Jon and Nath, like to party straight after I did this interview, and it was the best. It was so good, such a good evening of comedy, and I've never laughed so much as I've laughed at the Stuntman. So please go and see it. So Nathan Lang started his career in Australia in Neighbours and did a few other things there, and then he's come over here now to the UK, and we are so privileged to have him here, one of us, doing comedy with us. So go. That wasn't supposed to be scary. Anyway, so here is Nathan Lang. Enjoy this interview, and I apologise for the amount of times I interrupted him, because I was just so, it just felt like a conversation. I forgot I was in an interview sometimes, so here he is.
I was born in the northern suburb of Fitzroy, Melbourne, in a hospital. 2 weeks. No, how early was I? I was a few days early. And my mother said it's the only time I've ever been early in my life, because I was going to say I'm plagued with a punctuality problem, but I just have a punctuality problem.
I'm saying nothing. I'm not saying nothing.
Come on, let's be honest. I was late for this.
And the other day as well. In fact,
the other day.
I've met you like 3 or 4 times. 3, 4.
And have I been late every time?
You've been late more than you've not been late.
Yeah,
I'd say that.
I know.
No, all times. Every single time I've met you, because you and John ran late on the Artista.
That's
You
right.
were running late there, and so every time I've met you, you've
we
run
did
late.
come straight from another gig.
You did
But
come
still
from
no
another gig.
excuse.
You've
It's not
got
professional.
I
We were there
busy.
before the show, though.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
You were on stage at the right time.
Because they put us in the second half just to be sure. Yeah, but we did push it. Yeah, I do push it with.
Is that because you're really busy? I mean, do you have good
No,
excuses?
I just have. I just get caught up with. I get worried that I'm not prepared enough. I don't know what the hell I was thinking in the room, and why you'd rush out into this life early. Like if you knew what was ahead of you, you'd probably just stay in there as long as you could.
Yeah.
But I was young. I didn't know better. But I once kept John waiting for 2 days, by the way. It's so disrespectful. And I used to be really, 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 really bad, like really bad. And the people would just understand. People would tell me to get somewhere like an hour before they wanted me there. And then I knew that.
I'm going to do that in future.
Terrible.
If I'm going to meet you, I'm just going to say 9 o'clock a.m. and then I'll get there at 4 and you'll roll up.
But then what if that's the day I turn my life around?
You'll have to wait for me.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't care. Always carry a book. I don't mind waiting.
So was that advice to me? Always carry a book?
Yeah, just carry a book.
No, I don't care.
When you're meeting with me, I don't fucking care. Carry a book, do something. No. I always carry a book, because you never know what's going to go wrong.
True.
You have
I
to
was
wait
thinking
and just
that
keep
today.
yourself amused.
I was reading some sort of local newspaper to here, and I thought, why am I reading this? And I didn't have internet, and it was just downer. Anyway, so what was your family life like? Tell me about your childhood.
I grew up in the southeast suburbs of Melbourne, in a place called Mulgrave, and it was just a very sort of, safe, comfortable 80s suburban middle class upbringing. I lived in a nice street. All the kids would come and play in the street. In the day in the 80s when you could go down the shop and buy your dad some fags. And it was cool. It was just, and we'd just muck around. But yeah, it was like looking back though, it was just very safe. There's a phrase that I remember Robert Redford used, and I'm now going to appropriate it. He said that he had an oppressively conventional upbringing, and I think that rings true for me. I feel like I had an oppressively conventional upbringing, like everything was just so. And I really had to work out how to actually function in life and do stuff when I grew older, because it wasn't a very challenging.
So did you have like any dreams back then when you were really young?
I always wanted to be an actor.
You're always?
Yeah, I always wanted to be an actor.
From what age?
Since I can remember actually formulating the thought. And I used to amuse myself by like getting, because you remember cassette players, right?
Yeah.
I used to amuse myself by like getting cassette players and recording like audio sketches into the cassette players, and then if I had to record sound effects and stuff like that, I'd get another cassette player and what's it called? Like and multi-track it.
Yeah, multi-track.
Yeah.
But
and do like
the
comedy
quality
sketches
just
and stuff.
degrades every time.
Absolutely, and you'd have to re-record it because you have to work out how close you put your mouth and how close you put the speaker to the cassette player that was recording. And very technical stuff for a 6-year-old. But I used to do stuff like that and just like because I think when you for me, right, as an adult, when I had to actually sit and go, what do I actually want to do in life? I'm doing all this stuff that is expected of me and I'm chasing cash and all that stuff. Well, okay, what do I actually want to do and how am I going to get on with my life? It's good to always think back to when you're a kid. What did you do? What did you just naturally do? What was your natural inclination? My natural inclination was to muck around and make comedy. And so
it wasn't just acting; it was comedy acting.
Yeah, it was more. Yeah, that's just what I naturally did when I could act on my impulses as a kid, with none of the strictures and insecurities and stuff of adulthood. So I think that's a good indicator for what I wanted to do. Yeah.
Who were your influences, like on the telly? Or which kind of
British comedy. I used to watch British comedy on the ABC. ABC was, one of the, it still is, a good source of British shows. And I used to watch stuff like The Two Ronnies and Dad's Army, The Kenny Everett Show. And this is because I was born in 78, so we're talking like early 80s when I remember watching TV with my dad and my brother. And that was cool. That was my first exposure to stuff. What else? And I grew up continuing to watch. I was really eager for British stuff. And you don't get a lot in Australia. Not a lot of stuff makes it across the sea to the TV because it's mostly I watch with American crap. But like we got Blackadder and a bit of Fry and Laurie, The Young Ones. Yeah.
So this is the noise. So he'll do this for like half a minute and then it will stop.
What is it?
Are you going to bang on the window?
No, keep it down! Keep it down there! We're creating art! Yeah.
Think he stopped?
Do you think it's an angle grinder? Sounds like an angle grinder.
Know.
You might be cutting something on this.
What were you like at school?
I was a very conscientious student. Yeah. I was a good student and I studied all the time and I always aspired to get the highest possible marks I could. And I achieved, I did academically, I achieved. It's not an angle grinder, it's some kind of thing like a big drill or I don't know.
Do you know your grinders?
No. I've used an angle grinder, I had to use them.
You?
Yeah. Oh, they're great fun. Like a handheld angle grinder, I had to cut the steering wheel lock off someone else's car and take it. No, my car. I lost the key for the steering lock in my car, so I got the angle grinder. It was great. It was so much fun. Because I put protective goggles on and just got in the car and went zzz, and the sparks were flying up on the windscreen and it looked from the outside. Apparently, it was really good.
Yeah, so sorry, you were saying at school you excelled.
Yeah, academically I did really well. And I did drama and I did all that stuff as well. But I was and I had a private school education in Australia too. And it was very disciplined and it was quite good for me. It's good for me to have that external discipline as well, which I responded quite well to it. And I worked hard at my academics and achieved high scores and then went to university and then realized that I still thought I was supposed to be an academic, but I didn't really want to. So when I went to university, left to my own devices, without that external discipline, I sort of just started to drop the ball and realised I didn't want to do that and I just wanted to be a performer, but I sort of I didn't enroll in a drama course. I enrolled in like linguistics and languages and philosophy. It was like I didn't really want to do that work anymore.
Private school, was that like a day thing or was that boarding?
Oh no, it wasn't boarding. No. It was it was every day and it was very strict. I had an amazing drama teacher. He was an excellent inspiration. I mean, he was just a really cool guy. Even now, like a couple of years ago, he came over here and he just still so passionate about theatre. And we went out, and all he could do was bang on about the theatre scene and stuff. And I think that, and it reminded me that the passion that he inspired us with, to just do. And I was going to study law for a moment there, because I think someone said, "Oh, you've got good marks, you should study law." And I had absolutely no interest in it. And he took me aside. He's like, "Seriously, there's enough wankers in the legal profession. Don't become one of them. You know what you're here to do." And I was like, "Wow!" So he kind of saved me as well. But I want to say, I was a strict school, and we had like compulsory sport, which I hated. And I for fuck's sake, why did I choose to do rowing? Oh, because my brother did. You do. Oh, my brother does that. I'll do it as well. You know. Oh, my brother's mates. I'll hang out with my brother's mates' brothers, and they weren't the right people. You know. So you just say, that's bang, but that's way off. Are you
okay?
Yeah. And it's just all coming back to me, the stupid decisions that you make, even as an adolescent.
Yeah.
But yeah, compulsory sport, that was the bit that I hated. I'm not a sporty person, so like I had to do cricket, and I would just like edge myself out until I was kind of off the field and no one would notice. But I had to play football once, and I was one of those dudes who'd run away from the ball. I just didn't want to touch it. I was not interested. And
when you edged yourself off, would you just walk away?
No, I just kind of like, edge myself up to the boundary, just hang out there, and hopefully no one would notice. I was supposed to be fielding, but I was just kind of standing there, just going, right, in a couple of hours this would be over.
What if you had to play a sports person as an actor?
I don't think that's.
I'm not going to get cast
as a sports person. I auditioned for a role as a cricketer once, and it was such a bad audition. Really, yeah.
Were you hanging out way off the
Yeah, exactly. I just took myself out of the audition room and went, this is how I do it, guys. No. And rowing, I did rowing. I was a coxswain because I was quite lightweight. So, the coxswain.
No, it means nothing to me.
All right. So the coxswain is a little dude who sits at the end of the boat, deep down in the boat, and you everyone thinks, what does the cox do? Steer. But you can correct the steer. You've got these ropes, right, with little balls on them that you hook your fingers around, and you can correct the steering with that. But the idea is that you are supposed to monitor the balance of the boat. And you have to know what every oarsman, like along the boat, all the 8 oarsmen, you've got to know what they're doing. You know how they're sitting according to the balance of the boat. And if the boat's pulling left or right, you know that which seat is pulling too hard or not pulling enough. So your job is to monitor all that, and to monitor the strokes per minute, and to communicate with the what do they call him? The guy at the front, the stern? No, what do they call him? The stroke, the bust, the masthead, the guy. You communicate with him, and he's like the leader of the gang, and he can feel. It's pretty cool. Like your senses become attuned to weight and motion in the boat, and it's just a lovely, expensive private school team sport. And don't we do so well? And all the parents come out and have a picnic on the lawn in the regatta, and isn't it just fucking disgusting?
So. Where did Neighbours come in? So you went off to university after that private school?
Yeah.
And then...
Oh no, Neighbours came in very early. Yeah, Neighbours. The Neighbours days. So I got... I talked about this once before, didn't I? I'll give you the condensed version.
Well, our listeners haven't heard.
Yeah. All right, well...
just pretend I've never heard this before.
Basically what happened was, Tandy, I took drama classes outside of school. Turned out those drama classes, and I had an excellent teacher as well, Ron Bingham, and he'd been on TV, and I was just really impressed by the fact he'd been on Mission Impossible in a bit part. I mean, he'd been on all the shows, but I loved Mission Impossible. That was my favourite show for a while. And I still think those films, that is one of the best franchises of Hollywood films. In fact, I think it's the best franchise of Hollywood films, Mission Impossible. Bloody brilliant.
The ones with Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
And in the US Viz?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
And Tom Cruise is it his cousin? That guy, he's Ethan in Lost, and he just, it doesn't matter. I think he's got like an
the guy who was in Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol at the beginning, who jumped off the building with
got like a motorbike
cushion.
Scene. And he's got blonde hair. Anyway, he's related to Tom Cruise.
Is he?
Yeah.
He's in Lost.
He's in Lost as Ethan. Yeah, the guy that has a fight with somebody in it.
No, I've actually not seen Lost, but I know he probably. J.J. Abrams loves him, right? So he got that part.
We're going way off track.
Yeah, we are. So I love Mission Impossible. And Ron Bingham had a bit part, and I was really impressed by that. And I was really in awe of that. I was like, oh wow, what I wouldn't give to be on Mission Impossible. And I got an audition to be in Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, and I didn't get the part. Yeah.
That's harsh.
So I came close, anyway, so he was really inspiring, and he was brilliant, and he loved kids. He worked really well with young kids, you know, and so we all stayed together as a gang, and we put on cabaret shows and stuff, and I'd go to his place and hang out and take him donuts, but it turns out he's diabetic actually, so he had to regulate how many donuts he ate, but
Sorry.
I know.
That's not funny.
I know, but he was just like, he was a really cool guy, and people didn't, he was a mate and he was a mentor, and my dad wasn't around from when I was like 4 or 5. He left, so you know, he was a father figure as well. He was one of my many father figures, one of my many damaged father figures that I've chosen in my life, and people didn't understand. In fact, I remember my mum and my brother kind of spoiling that innocence for me a little bit, because they kept on whispering in my ear about how it was a bit weird that Ron hung out with kids. Aww. Isn't it just a bit weird? Yeah. And I was like, no, he's my friend. They went, well, why doesn't he have any friends of his own age? I went, oh, I don't know, he's just a decent guy and he's my mate. And they kind of spoiled that a bit for me. I remember that wasn't.
I think that happens
cool.
with drama teachers as well, because it's different to other subjects. Like, people definitely said that about our drama teacher, and he was great, and he's still great, and he was just really like yours, inspiring and putting the work in, rather than it just being 9 to 3.
Yeah.
So, well, that's cool.
Ron had these great catchphrases like, all you need in life is a cup of tea. And he's right. You'd turn up to class and someone, it would go, who, right? You'd slap his hands together and go, right, who's going to make me a cup of tea? Well, Ron.
Hang on a minute. Took him donuts, you made him tea.
Yeah.
It's starting to sound like a bit of a, like that you're just serving him.
Yeah, like I was his child slave. Yeah. But that's it. Just but it's cool. It was like, well, it's better than like, oh, come over to my place and bring me a bottle of whiskey.
That is worse.
It was just like, bring me some donuts and we'll have a cup of tea and we'll write a musical. That's the other thing. I go, what are you talking about? Ron, we'll write a musical. He goes, yes, we're going to write a musical and it's going to star you and Libby. I'm like, Ron, I can't write a musical. And he goes, no, we're going to do it. I mean, just get our notebook and we start writing a musical about a rat who lived in bloody hell, it was Ratatouille, wasn't it, before that was even made. And we just started writing this musical, and he'd sit there and dream and go, and there's got to be a song and it's going to go like this. And that was a great lesson. It was like, just do it.
Yeah.
Of course you can do it. We'll put on a show. We'll write a musical. Do whatever you want.
Looking back now, can you see that all those things, if you just heard about it, that you might think it was a bit weird, like, come, like he wants me and Libby to come round and perform this musical
about a rat who lives in a garbage bin, and I just have to bring him donuts. Yeah, he's definitely an eccentric. Yeah,
but he really inspired you, and that obviously means a lot to you.
Yeah, just recalling him now.
That led into the audition for.
So I was telling you, right, okay. So then what happened was we did. He found this regional acting competition for kids in like Ballarat or Bendigo, which is like this regional town outside of Melbourne, and it was like a 2-day weekend festival, and they just had different categories, and so all the people in our class, he just went, right, you're going to go in this category and you're going to go in this category, and he just put people in, to sing a song or something, and it was just in this community centre, and I got entered into the TV auditions category where it's really weird now, but it was like you did a simulated audition on the stage with someone running the audition and someone with a camera, except that was a simulation of a TV audition on a stage with judges, a panel of judges watching everyone, kids one after another, come in and just read the same script. So anyway, I just did that and thought I was terrible, and then we all went home. And then like on Monday, my agent, who had been running these classes where I met him, so she signed us all up because she wanted to start a youth talent agency. That's how I got an agent really early on, because we did classes, and she said, yes, hello, you're with me now. She called me up and said, oh yeah, you know that competition you did, that Screech TV auditions, you placed 3rd, but you left before. I said, oh well, I thought I was terrible. She goes, why you placed 3rd? And one of the judges was Jan Russ, who's the casting director for Neighbours, and she said, I'm going to give him a line in a scene on Neighbours. I was like, cool, that's awesome. So I got a line with Billy. You remember Billy?
Yeah.
and I got to distract him from something by walking up with some basketball cards and my line was, "Hey Billy, check this out." That's it. I'm surprised your eyes aren't gleaming with recognition of my...
Wow, I remember that.
Yeah. So that was it. And I was like, oh, how am I going to say this line? It was, Billy, check this out. Yeah, so that was the thing. That obviously the line went all right, because then a year later they gave me a scene. I actually can't remember what that scene was, but obviously I had like 2 or 3 lines.
Can't remember the scene.
Well, I picked up my first line really, and after that it's all just kind of a blur. No, I can't remember what that was. A different character name too. I think the first character was John Crocos, and then the second one was Adam Young. Right?
You had different character names.
Yeah, they gave me a character name for like 5 words. John Crocos, known to his mates as Croker, and he just like collects basketball cards. And
did you look the same every time?
Yeah, obviously ponytail. No, the ponytail was Pinhead. No, I was just me. Like, I just looked the same. But no one knows. You can come back after a year, and no one will remember that it was that dude with basketball cards a year ago.
Apart from the sort of obsessive.
The obsessive fans who track everyone, and in which case, because no one ever said my name anyway, might as well have been the same dude. In fact, that's the point. And then that's why a year after that, they gave me a character. I couldn't believe it. Just based on a few lines, and they went, yeah, you're all right, mate, you can have this character called Pinhead, who had been referred to in the script. So when I turned up for the first day of shooting, all the cast, I was so nervous about meeting them, they're all going, "You're Pinhead!" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm Pinhead." They go, "No, you're Pinhead, you're the one we've been talking about all this time. I can't believe there's actually a face to the name now." And so yeah, that was Pinhead. So look at them, they might as well have all been the same character. So then they just kept asking me back to do, like, they gave me contracts, asking me back. I had a few scenes, and then I had a few episodes, and then that would just get longer and longer, and then I got a week, and then I got a couple of weeks, and it was super sweet. And so over a couple of years, I just got to be in loads of storylines and stuff.
That's great.
And then it all fell apart.
How did it fall apart?
I don't really know. They just stopped asking me back. All the kids graduated, I guess. Everyone graduated from school, and so all the stories kind of went psh, because I was a schoolmate. So I guess there just wasn't really much of a place for me.
So what did you do next in terms of acting?
Like every now and then, I'd get a small part on TV, and seriously, someone should have. I wish someone had a conversation with me about about my career and what you do as an actor, what you should do, because it's not just because I got really lucky. I got super lucky when I was like 15. I wish that someone had said, "Okay, you've got an opportunity here. You need to work." Because my experience was you just get lucky, and then sometimes I'll just get a part. And also growing up in Australian culture, where in Australia, at least at that time, the arts aren't really taken very seriously. And if you say you're an actor, everyone will say, "Yeah, but what's your job? What's your real job?" Because you can't really survive as an actor unless you just make it big. So most of my mates would have a full-time job. I didn't. I didn't get a full-time job. I went on benefits and stuff, and well, I did have a job for a while, but then I finally got sacked for punctuality problems. Continued punctuality problems, and they finally sacked me. It was the best thing that ever happened, because that's when I went, right, I don't have a job. What am I now? I'm going to be an actor for real.
When was this? Was this after uni and doing acting?
Yeah, this was, because like after uni I just got a job, because that's the thing, I don't know, there's something about the way I was raised, the values that I was raised with are kind of like, you just got to get a job, mate. What are you going to do with your life? This acting thing's great, but it's a bit of fun. What are you really going to do? So I worked at cinemas. I worked at cinemas because I wanted to be close to the movies. I wanted to watch all the movies, and I worked in cinemas from when I could legally get a job, from when I was 14 and 7 months old or something like that, or 9 months. Got a job at the cinema, watched all the films, loved it, and I did that for 8 years.
Was it in the day that you could actually watch the films? Because I tried that, and you weren't allowed to watch the films. You just had to clean popcorn. No. Floor.
I'd go in before my shifts, and I'd stay after my shifts, and I'd watch, because you could just watch all the 3 films, and I watched everything, like absolutely everything. I even watched Monkey Trouble with Thora Birch and Harvey Keitel.
Wow.
Yeah.
So cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we weren't allowed to. We had to wait 3 months to get like a pass, and then we were allowed to, but only at special
really?
times. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So you couldn't just go any time watching a film?
No, I think you could once to 3 months work. Yeah, I think once to 3 months.
After 3 months?
Yeah, you could.
Which cinema did you work at?
I don't know if Am I allowed to say?
I don't know. You can say what you want.
They're not gonna,
your podcast.
I haven't slandered them, have I?
No, you haven't. No.
Cineworld.
Cineworld?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I used to go to Cineworld all the time.
Yeah.
Which one?
In Eastbourne.
They're good films, because they kind of, Cineworld tend to program some
They've started doing
alternative
some
films as well.
more like interesting things, like the live Shakespeare stuff. And,
Yeah.
you know, they do stuff like that now. So, but when I was working there, it was very bog standard kind of, just sort of your Saturday morning kids films and just whatever was the most popular they'd get. And there's only 6 screens, so.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, sorry.
No, they had
digressing.
What was really cool is that every film that came in, because I don't know how they do it now. I mean, I'm sure, I know that screening films digitally happens a lot. I don't really know, but I mean, at the time we still had trained projectors, and they knew that their days were numbered. But they were really highly skilled projectionists, and every film would come in like 5 to 7 reels, and they would have to manually put it together and splice it together, and that's where these cigarette burns come in handy, because you know the cigarette burn.
Yeah, we used to have a projector in the house.
Yeah,
like a proper one. Yeah, the smell so good.
I know, isn't it great? Yeah. We had a Super 8 projector, and we watch all the old every Saturday night.
Star
Mum would go, let's go out. What are you actually?
Yeah, we had Star Wars. It was like a shortened version. But
on a 3-minute Super 8 reel.
You would get stuck and then it would start to melt. We were like,
yeah. Oh no! Yeah. And then you'd watch it backwards. That would be hilarious. Tech screenings. We had tech screenings. So the films get put together, and then someone would have to sit through the film and watch it to make sure that everything was okay. And I'd always put my hand up for that. Yeah. And I was so stoked when I got to see Eyes Wide Shut before anyone else got to see it. It was because I was so eager, because I'd never seen Stanley Kubrick, a new release Stanley Kubrick film in the cinema before, and I got to watch it, and I was baffled by it. But I was like, this is a work of genius. I just don't get it. You know.
I don't think many people got
No, but it's like all of these films over time. You know, really clever people have analysed these films and looked at subliminally what's going on, and they're such incredible works of art that it takes years, I think, for people to get it.
If I ever make anything, that's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you don't get it. Yeah, exactly. When a bomb tonight, I'll be like, no, give it a couple of years, and then you'll get the jokes. They're kind of like that. Yeah.
I've written down directing Shakespeare.
Yeah.
You've directed.
I have directed Shakespeare once.
Okay.
I love Shakespeare, and I did outdoor Shakespeare in Australia, and so I did. I spent a couple of summers in Apollo Bay, which is at the end of the Great Ocean Road on the south coast of Victoria, and we would do Shakespeare and a rainforest picnic reserve, and then a family show on the beach, on the forefront by the beach during the day, and that was great.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, it was so nice.
Which play was it?
I directed As You Like It, and we did that in a gala in some stately garden in Melbourne as well. And I got a review. My brother worked for the Herald Sun, and he managed to, otherwise I would never got a review, but I think he managed to poke some people. And the reviewer from the Herald, Scum, came to watch the play and gave me a terrible review. She said I had no stylistic sensibility or something, and I tried to impose some kind of reading on it. It didn't make sense, and she was absolutely right. I tried to make As You Like It. I tried to give it like this kind of, set it in this kind of ironically psychedelic setting where like the court was so colourful and flamboyant that it was all actually more like a pageant to cover up for how authoritarian it was. I think I was maybe trying a bit too much, and it didn't really make sense. And then compare that with the pastoral life, when everyone was just like, probably just eating mushrooms and tripping out a little bit.
So let's go back to, went to uni.
Yeah.
Then you went back to working in a cinema.
I was always working in the cinema.
Got fired though for being late.
Eventually, after 8 years, and moving me around to different cinemas, they cottoned on to me.
So what happened next?
What happened next was when I was like, I have to commit to being an actor now and start working and seeking out fringe productions and stuff. And that's when I started doing Shakespeare.
Okay.
Shakespeare, and the first one I did was Much Ado About Nothing at the Collingwood Children's Farm, and it was so good. We had a great time. So there's basically a farm, but where kids can go. You have that here, don't you? You have children's farm, where kids can go and just wander around and walk amongst the animals and look in a donkey's face and touch them and chase chickens and stuff like that. And they have peacocks, and Yeah, it was cool. And we just did it in various bits around the farm, and the animals would get involved. And when all the women came out, all dressed up in some scene in Much Ado, the peacocks would get jealous and come and jump up on a ledge and splay their feathers and go, "Rah!" Yeah. Every night the peacocks would compete for attention.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And it just made it really exciting. And something really special for everyone.
That's great.
Yeah.
So how long did you do those kinds of things until you decided to come to England? You did more film stuff, didn't you? Or not? Television stuff.
Films and some bits on TV, but then I don't know. I just wasn't making enough effort in my career, so my sort of professional work was not. Splat. I just made you fall asleep.
I just dropped my folder, my book. Right, sorry.
But also at the time, I think around the time that I realised I wasn't gonna probably get much more professional work and TV and film and that, when I realised that was terrible. At the time in Australia, this was just before I left too. Like opportunities were drying up too. And all of my mates were like, this is ridiculous, I can't get an audition, can't get a gig. Everyone was just trying to get more cash work. And things were drying up because at the time, the Conservative Prime Minister John Howard, he struck this trade deal with America, which meant that it was cheaper for Australia to import cheap crap American TV products than to produce their own homegrown stuff. So what happened was the TV started to get flooded with shit like CSI and bullshit like that. And homegrown stuff that was giving actors work, and not just actors, like Blue Heelers, which is like this, like the Australian version of The Bill, but it was set in a country town. That ran for years, and it got cut, just like The Bill got cut.
You were in that?
I was in it. I had a spot. That was my favourite role ever. That was awesome. Yeah. And just all this, and people were no longer making good Australian products, and the TV was being flooded with crap from America, and just perpetuating this Americanization of Australian culture. It's an unthinking Americanization, and it's not just it's in music and everything. So so the work was drying up, and it was a really bad time for the arts. And I think it's different now. I think this is 10 years ago. I think now things are getting better, and there's good work being produced. I don't know. I don't actually know what I'm talking about.
So you came over here?
Yeah. Okay, so I came over and started a few notches down again. Like I did a really, really low scale tour of Panto the first winter that I was here. The first thing I did was I got a job at Hamleys demonstrating magic toys, and I quite enjoyed that, and I was quite good at it. So then they put me in Selfridges on my own, and that was awful, and I hated that. Because I would just be there on my own in the stationery department of Selfridges trying to demonstrate magic toys. I wasn't even that good at, like trying to do card tricks, and people who didn't want to see them, and you had to do a really hard sell. I was like, this is rubbish, I don't want to do this. And I'd go in late, and because I was managing myself, so I'd go in late, I'd stand around for an hour, and then I'd go out for like a 1 hour coffee and fag break, and I'd come back in and stand around for another hour, and I'd go out and have like a 1 hour lunch break, and no one cared. I didn't care, so I didn't care. I hated that job. Dark thoughts. I'm cycling there on my £30 probably stolen bike that I got from Brick Lane, and cycling down Oxford Street, sucking in bus fumes and just going, oh, this is shit. My life is shit. What am I doing? It's not like shit. I'm very, very lucky. I was lucky to be here and to be exploring opportunities. But I realised that was rubbish. Working is the opposite place for me to work in like consumer capital of London, Oxford Street, in department stores. But I thought I had to. Turns out you don't have to do shit jobs like that. You can do other shit jobs. So yeah, I quit that, and then I did this tour of Panto, which was also up north, and it was great because and then I did like this TIE tour of a Shakespeare tour, which was, again, it was very low scale, and it paid me just enough to pay the rent. But it was great because I got to travel around, and I worked with really lovely people, and I'd travel the north of England. I mean, you'd probably laugh now, but at the time I was like, that was very romantic to me. It was winter, it's my first winter here, and I was up north, and it was freezing, and it was frosty, and that was exactly what I was after. And and we were like touring between Manchester and Liverpool, and I was just seeing all these new places, and I did this TIE tour of like the south of England and the east coast, and it was just beautiful.
So you like it cold?
I love it cold. I love the cold. This.
Does it not get
by
cold
the
in
way, for
Australia?
context, it is sweltering, and it
Yeah.
has been sweltering the last few days.
Today is one of the hottest days ever. Like I can't remember
It's
it.
hotter
being-
than the sun
It is
out
so
there.
hot. Yeah.
I'm not into it. I left Australia, and I happily left that hot weather behind me, because it's ridiculous when it's like 30 degrees here is like, you know how hot and sweltering it is, and you can't function. Well, that's when it's like 40 degrees in Melbourne, and you know, you've got more airflow. So, but when it gets to that point, honestly, it was just days where you sit in your pants and do nothing, and just hope that, turn a fan on and just wait for it to pass, because it's too hot.
The funny
to
thing
function.
is that I have heard you say this before, but when you were saying how much you love the British weather, you were actually shivering really badly.
Was I?
Yeah, outside at the Warren. You were like going, I love it here, I love the weather. I love it."
It's brilliant. I just need a cardigan to really appreciate
You were
it.
genuine.
Yeah, I love the cold. Yeah. It's just look, things function better in the cold. Look at it, it gets so hot, my phone stops working. You know, technology doesn't. I was reading this thing. It's like the universe is just a little bit too hot at the moment for advanced technological life forms to communicate with us. This is the theory, right? Because the universe is
Is
too hot.
this why you were late? Is this what you were doing?
This is my excuse, right? The universe is too hot, and I couldn't, and nothing is traveling fast enough. And the theory is that species that would have evolved, because look at the way we're going. Like, we're in a technological age now, and soon, when I say soon, like not in our lifetime, but one day we'll probably be digitized. We're already living in augmented reality with virtual reality, you know, and the unfathomable realms of the internet, like, and quantum physics and all that is a reality now. And it's like, in the future, we will probably have transcended our physical selves. Who knows? That's what the theory is. That we'll realize that the Earth is uninhabitable, but it's okay because we exist electronically and digitally now. And that is apparently the evolution of the species. That's what they say, Tandy. It's what they say. So they reckon that they've shown obviously computers and like supercomputers. They need to be kept cool with massive air conditioning units and stuff like that, because they overheat,
Yeah.
right? So they reckon that there's probably species that would like to contact us, you know, in technological form, but they can't do it yet because the great distances that they have to travel, right? The universe is too hot. It's freezing, but it's still too hot for them. And when the universe is maybe cools down, it's a little bit cooler. That's when we'll get contact with alien life, and it won't be UFOs. It'll be direct brain contact.
Nath, when did you meet Jon?
I'm boring. If you want to ask me, if you want me to be boring, then you've asked the right question.
Wasn't that fun learning about Nathan? Nathan, I'm sorry that when you were talking about Selfridges and your dark days, I was actually kind of laughing at that point. I'm sorry about that. I do actually understand, because my first job that I got when I came away from drama school was in a theatre, and as the actors were warming up on stage, I was there cleaning up all the rubbish under the seats, and my dreams were there with the rubbish on the floor. So I do, it's not the same scale, but I do understand, so sorry about that. Come back and join us for part 2, where Nathan talks about his comedy partnership with John Levine, and you can check out their videos, Jon and Nath, the YouTube channel, lots of comedy videos on there, which are great, and we're going to talk about his clowning and about the boundaries of comedy, and he's going to give me some advice too, so please come back for part 2. See ya!